If you're new to the channel, here's the deal. You can vote on whatever you want me to cover on my Patreon. You can also watch videos early access and tons more. I rely on Patreon to exist, so check it out. That's a heck of a start to the story. Kudos for showing the deep scar on the back of his neck too. Means this isn't the first time they've tried it. Stark from Frieren! Also, a heck of a start to a character introduction too, to be fair. Definitely one of those OPs where it quite easily gets max wins. It's where, on top of a decent song, you get over and above levels of animation, and this one nailed that element. Here's me thinking, after how it started, I wonder if this'll be a darker kind of anime, and then just prior we're literally showing a dude in flames. It's nuts. For me personally, doing something like this right away makes the story so much more interesting. I love it. I am learning some pretty messed up stuff from this anime, and for some unknown reason, I don't mind it. This dude is so strong and so badass. Perfect anime type of character. I from Love is War. The fact that she did that 2.5 times in a row was a real good comedy moment. For context, he's referring to his marriage to the chief's daughter, and the win is because I'm not even sure I've ever come across reasoning like that before in anime. The legend himself, Old Man Rom from Re:Zero, and the old man who builds lots of stuff in Dr. Stone. It's funny how different his version of events was to the real one, where he actually took out 20 guards before they finally were able to pin him down and capture him. Just can't show that scene. Seeing the actual scene from the start and what he did makes it all the more awesome. The flame effects have obviously been done by hand, and it's a thing of beauty. Deadly but also kawaii. It's nice that we're being shown instead of told that his body is basically fighting for his life. Like, even he himself is shocked to have broken out of the restraints. The music choice is so unique. It's like I'm not used to stories like this. I like it. Honestly, this reveal is an even bigger shock than when he brought up why he wants to leave the village. My guess is that deep down she was turning him into a better person and it shook him. I knew it! Totally nailed it! Let's go! Seriously, what a great twist. Probably the most realistic looking wounds I've seen for someone doing that kind of job. Well, that is horrible and made me very sad/angry. Well done for pulling those feelings out of me. It's a rare thing to like someone so quickly and what they had in that moment. That was oddly beautiful, really. Nice animation on those attacks in what makes for a fairly short continuous motion shot where it doesn't cut away. What an opening episode, I gotta say. To now learn why he did what he did, and it was because of her. For her. My guess is that fans of the manga had to be really happy with how that excellent piece of animation goodness was handled.
これさえあれば、奉行所も里の忍びもあなたには手出しできない。一切の苦しみがなく、豊穣と喜びに満ちた土地、新仙郷。
Needless to say, this has been a huge shock to me in how the story has twisted and turned to this point, and I am so on board you have no idea.
ご公儀はその戦略を求め、調査団を島へと向かわせました。その後も計5回派遣されましたが、誰も帰ってこなかったそうです。
I like this story. It actually reminds me of a video game called Greedfall, where you're traveling to the new world, but there's natives and magic there. It was really cool.
戦略を持ち帰った1名を無罪放免とする。
And therein lies the major start of the story. Let's freaking go!
そんな世たばらしでしつこくなどさせんぞ!
So insanely badass looking. You can really see how much effort was put into the effects.
必ず生きて帰る。君のために。
Such a great end to the episode that it has to score its own win. Pretty by the numbers ED with simple visuals, but I must say the song was a wonderful choice, I think. Also surprised it featured no other characters, which was interesting. Again, they seem to be showing us instead of telling us about her own life problems, and in a very intriguing way, no less. Saitama from One Punch Man!
30人殺しの強盗、谷尾清吉。世間を騒がせた凶悪犯ばかり。
To be honest, a really realistic way of doing this reminds me a little of LA Noir with his notebook.
例えば、死んだ方がいい極悪人なら迷いなく切れるだろうか。
Gotta say, as a character, these kinds of thoughts make her seriously unique in the world of anime.
髪の色と背格好でピンときたよ。私らの世界じゃ超有名人だしね。
Potentially criminal kawaii! Also though, Megamin from Konosuba.
彼は先日の上陸調査で唯一生還した与力だ。
Getting to witness the full body of someone affected by whatever the heck that is.
無論同行者を故意に、あるいは事故でも死なせた場合は打ち首。
Oh, now that makes for a very interesting twist, because it means they may end up working together, because should she get taken out, his pardon disappears along with her.
勘が悪いな。つまりあれだろ、この場で雑魚を削れってこった。
Alice Asmodeus from Iruma-kun. Me likey these ad segments.
城内の家臣を一人残らず制圧したくのいち。
I'd like to add on to my prior win regarding her. Definitely kawaii. Moving on.
剣竜や八州無双と呼ばれた大剣豪。
Endeavor from My Hero Academia, and of course from the Trails games where he plays two different characters.
刀も槍もまるで通じなかったとか。
Quick win for using this as a means by which to introduce us to most of the main characters in the season.
この際だから言っておくが、今回のそもそもこの仕事は前に向いてないよ。
I've said it before and I'm going to say it again, that's some seriously interesting character foundation being placed there, which will likely lead to a really decent character arc too.
刀には真実が映る。
Just about one of the only scenes not filled with internal body juices that I can easily show, but obviously have one for starting to show us more regarding her backstory here. Already I find her character intriguing, weighed down by guilt from the people she has been forced to take out over the years, dragging her down at the worst of times, but she still pushed through here.
人を殺して平気なわけあるか。
何をしている？
こんなことさせられたらたまらんよ。
And now his character comes swinging out the gate with this amazing setup. Loved how it shocked them that he was suddenly there up front, and how his words had a profound impact on her too. Not sure which I liked more, the awesome dodge or the comedy behind him being like, don't dodge it.
気が重いんだよ。これからしょうものを考えたら。
Interesting how the two of them are very alike. That's one win. But take another as well, because I like how he doesn't want to hurt anyone, but he will if he needs to, in order to defend himself, and that's much better than him running away from combat all the time. Easy max wins for that. There was some seriously packed full impressive animation on display during that battle sequence, but sadly what I showed was all I could get away with. Sadly, a lot of her personal revelations come with nudity, but YouTube doesn't like that, so safe to say her growing as a person from just being around him so far.
Tokoyo no Kuni, Shinsenkyo.
Yet another proper good end to an episode with them arriving on the island.
岩隠れの長はまさに不死者だった。
Take a scene of Baby Hollow, but the win is for the chief looking nuts after taking arrows and spears and stuff to the dome.
ここにあるかはわからんが。
Such a good job of making the island look truly beautiful.
どの植物も種類や生息地はめちゃくちゃ不自然極まりない。
Seeing how his brain works, where she is caught up in the beauty like I was, and he's thinking, it's creepy, nothing is natural here.
警戒して。
手縄は外さない規則。
見つける気ないだろ、狼の連中は。
A very intense scene where she not only sets the firm rules she is honor bound to go by, but also will likely result in a great future scene where she allows or has to allow their removal to live.
そのための条件なら飲むが、あまり無茶は言わんでくれ。
Okay, well, you best believe that them having this tense conversation and suddenly he's hit by a giant ball and chained directly to the dome counts as a god tier plot twist and thus gets max wins.
かような状況で気を抜くなど死して当然。
Part of the win is he survived that, that's nuts. The other is that her fellow members are not all on the same page as her regarding the rules.
噂にたがわぬ強胆さ、頑丈さよ。
And by the by, as far as character designs go, he's incredible looking.
妻が悲しむから嫌なんだけど。仕方ない。殺すか。
His change in attitude as soon as he enters his killer mode is brilliant.
手縄。
I can't believe this woman! I don't think I've ever been so excited watching someone like this. I'm not sure I've ever seen anyone like this, where it's not strictly about superpowers, you know? What's amazing about this is that he doesn't have internal monologue telling us what he's thinking. You can just tell he's picking his weapon of choice and planning to dodge the rest.
無駄な時間を過ごした。さっさと戦薬を探そう。
The win isn't for him saying this, it's for the view of the guy just prior having been impaled with about 30 different weapons.
60人が行方知れずの島です。どうかキロもお気をつけて。
Nice to see her say this for two reasons. Firstly, it shows she cares about those she works alongside, even if they don't care for her, and it's also nice because otherwise the dangers of this place could be forgotten. The realistic course of action is to warn. Be careful if you're leaving now. No one has lived doing that just yet.
お役目もルールも眼中にない。
Kawaii, but very dangerous criminal.
いっそ俺が今切ってやろうか。
やめてくれよ、無駄な戯れは。
Ah, how quickly he moved that he shocks even those people.
空腹か、ロクロータ。
That visual is so insane, it's just getting a win. And that is scoring max wins for being utterly shocking. Another class A big shock to my system. I thought Saitama was going to be really tough, but clearly not compared to him.
資材人は半分以上死に。
And this can have another single win for being the last of the shocking statements, that so many of them are being taken out within the first couple of hours of having landed. Well, I was wrong. We see so many taken out that I figured were strong secondary characters, all taken out already.
さあどちらへ
I keep on getting more and more shocked than I previously was. It's too shocking. Five seconds of fresh animation attacks there, where it was the case that each attack was different to the last, plus a rotating shot built in.
やはりこの男は危険考えも倫理観も極端で異常だ
They only then went and did another 5-second one right afterwards.
わしは何をためらってるなぜだ
Just like I mentioned during a few different wins earlier on, it's great how they're both in a fight to the death, but neither of them are wanting to deal a finishing blow for some reason. Yet another chance that he didn't find himself able to take, and also, little gruesome, but seeing a moment from his past where a man mentioned having a wife and child stopped him for a moment too. Okay, I'm sold. I really like this anime. I almost feel bad for taking so long to get around to covering it after it was voted in on Patreon. Everything is great so far. I don't know how they achieved that effect and mixed it so well, but they really did. Those two dualities are handled so well visually here.
何も感じぬ伽藍堂ではない情を持った人間だった
I know I said it before, but seeing them grow together in this weirdly violent way is so different to usual. Again, Ada has shown her own growth, but she's naked each time.
それは弱さじゃない強さの種よどうか私に見せてくださいあなたのような人間が人生を取り戻せるかどうか
Finally, she comes to understand the man behind the hollow mask is a living, breathing man with emotions, which clearly gives her a tie to him now. Loved the sheathing of the weapon too.
かつてのあなたとは違うのだから
Beautiful end there to that wonderful scene. It looks so good too.
なんだこりゃ
Some great lore building here as we see several detailed statues that right away gets my mind racing about how old they are and who built them. The story is so sick in this, as on top of the lore, we see the island attempt to take its first victim from this new batch. Really creepy finger creatures! Oh man, come off it! Seriously? That's a god tier plot twist and that equals max wins. You can't give me that giant thing with limbs sticking out of it and not get max wins. I have to say, before the episode ends, what an amazing pace the story is keeping thus far. It's really thrown one thing after another at us, and I for one love it.
だから切ってやったのだ。おかげで範疇から追われ死罪にされた。後悔はしてないがな。
It's refreshing to see that the criminals aren't all of the same mind as well, as he actually agrees that he is too quickly prone to violence. Had to cut a tiny section there, which is what the win is for, his skin splitting away. Must be a visual thing. Insane though. Doing the same scene from the end of the last episode but with different animations is badass. I'm going out on a limb here, but so far these battles rival Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1 for me. Really fluid, amazing art style being used, and clearly a ton of frames poured in. How he's in control here too! Probably one of the most weirdly surprising moments actually is learning that he can be injured. rotating shot like it's no big deal whatsoever. But also these freaks just watching in the background. This is such a messed up place.
笑ってる。まさか本物の。
Attack on Hell's Paradise.
忍法非暴士
I legit feel I can relax a little when I see him go all out and take one of them down.
でも違った。すべてが違ってしまった。
Those eyes? But also, him taking down the freaks one by one. Just absolutely would get blasted for including it in this video, annoyingly.
ガビマル。
I like that. Even as he's telling himself, focus on the enemies in front of you, because of his wife's influence, he, without even thinking, rushed to her aid and surprised himself.
私ゆずりはあんたと同業の忍者だよ
I thought she was taken out! Oh well, I'm not mad, wanted to see more of her anyway. The way that was done, credit to the voice actress as well for the casual itai itai at the start too.
僕が本来の担当山田朝右衛門センタと言いまして
Midoriya from My Hero Academia.
やったーガビマル大好き大大大な
He's really not messing about, is he? To her credit, she shows here why she's along for the ride. Definitely no pushover.
たった一人の妹がいる不治の病を患っているけど薬代もない
No clue if that is true or another ruse from her, but if it is true, then it certainly makes her more human and understandable why she's working hard to get back to her with the life juice. Honestly, this is not the normal type of anime to use such unique designs like this, and I really dig it as a result. It looks like some watercolor dizzle.
気になる他人の命とか死ぬよそんなんじゃ
Another standout thing in this story is the wild variety of characters. I can certainly say with confidence that thus far they're all very different to one another.
私はなんて無力なの。
The story keeps surprising me with sudden twists.
お待たせしました助けに来ましたよ兄さん
Giorno Giovanna from JoJo's Golden Wind and Bungo Stray Dogs Season 3.
兄さん
生物なのか
時に理解しがたい状況もあるが
Rotating shot yet again, but mainly a callback to win number 116, where I just discussed the variety of characters, and here we have a pair of brothers acting as a criminal and executioner.
すぐに状況を飲み込み最終的にはその場を支配するに至る
Not sure if they'll do it for all of the main characters, but certainly a win for giving us a backstory on them.
強さとは変化すること
化け物めここから先は通さん
Not to keep on about it, but yet again, seriously unique characters on display, as you'd think he'd run back and help his brother, but instead he leaves him to fight alone. Survival of the fittest. They got me, totally pulled the rug out, and I injured my lower back as a result because his brother came back with a better weapon.
殺しは罪です
The first one that can speak.
兄さんの強さは変化だそして変わるからこそ浮き彫りになる
Safe to say this is absolutely for him taking out all of those monks just now.
正しいかわからねえなら俺だけを信じろ俺は兄貴だ
As a sentiment from a child having to grow up fast in order to look after his younger brother, I actually like that statement.
目が覚めたかサギリ
One of the first times in ages that someone in an anime hasn't said, "Are you awake?" when the person is awake.
飯の準備
破れた服の修繕を
現場監督
It's actually quite sweet that they've created a proper camp to stay at already and given each other chores to do. The team may not last for long, but I really enjoy elements like that.
賛成って気活眼じゃんこれ
She is adorable, I must admit.
戦略のことなんか知ってるわけ
いや戦略なんてこの役目で初めて聞いた
Even though they're a team, it's smart of him, and by way of him, the mangaka originally, to have him decline knowledge of the thing when he definitely knows a lot more about it than he's letting on.
であれば誰が作ったのか、そもそもその人はここに住んでいるのか。
Chubby Deku asking the important questions regarding these statues that I raised a couple episodes ago. Let's go.
まるで悪趣味なマンダラの中に放り込まれたみたいだ。
Just like the watercolor comment from earlier on, this is yet another totally different style of art used here, and it just looks so damn good.
まずは化け物の生態を調べた方が良さそうです。化け物がどこでどうやって生きてるのか。
Must have been a little tough to do, but the mangaka managed to keep the anime fairly grounded in realism to this point, as logically you would now set out to learn more of the monsters and how they work.
お主はすでに山田家の心を失っている。
Speaking of realism, it's only natural that he'd note that her sword has been destroyed and she's now using another to back up his argument that she should leave the island.
とにかく島から離れないと。霧で何も見えずとも武士道とは前進することと見つけたり。
Subaru from ReZero!
いや違う。まさかこれまで島から出ようとした船っすか。
The anime just casually getting better and better as it's revealed that no one has been able to leave the island, except for the one dude I'm guessing from near the start. Literally getting better and better though!
逃げろヌルガイ。お前が死ねば三家の血が絶えてしまう。
Pleased to see another character being given at least some form of background shown to us.
幕府の雇われですが、どうしても無実の少年を処刑する理由がわからない。
Now I understand why he felt he wanted to protect the lad and was going this far for him. Poor guy, tricked by samurai into revealing his home and then slaughtered.
気象さん、なんで？俺です、天座です。
Just a quick win because I rarely notice stuff like this, even when it's obvious, but of course, he is the one who attempted to leave the island a couple episodes ago.
全然わかんねえ。
Subaru sticking to his guns and defending the lad during this painful moment in his life. He even goes so far as to take a direct hit for him too.
死にたくなんかないよ。
For context, he said, "I'm asking if you want to live," and then this happens, and it was just a really lovely moment to me.
強いっすね、ヌルガイ君。
In this anime, anything can happen, but for now, take one for both of them making it through that.
いや、気分はもう大丈夫なのか。
はい？
なんだよその顔。
That quite frankly, amazing reaction from her.
心技体ってやつか。心、少なくとも牢屋敷でのお主は強かった。
First of all, it's nice to see them really starting to get along quite well, but also, just as her words have helped him when he lost it earlier on, his are now helping her to move forwards. Too long to show, but we're given a much greater understanding of her past, and also the current pressure she is under, having chosen this life for herself now.
この島は戦場のごときもの。女子供は場違いだ。
If you thought this might be another God tier Max Wins plot twist, then you'd be right. She gave a lovely, heartfelt speech on why she feels how she does, and he bloody attacks her!
源氏殿。
And you know what? That was equally as insanely shocking to me that he's suddenly just there. And I also loved the slow-mo shot as he tried to counter but couldn't and was taken out. Okay, so to his credit, he was making a point when I gave a double win 2 back. It still shocked me, though, obviously. And again, to his absolute credit, he saved her life there, pushing her away. Oh, that is outrageously great! This woman is really something else.
怒りつぶて。
It put a damn hole in the tree and didn't even slightly hurt him!
男のごとく啖呵を切っていたのに。今は女の慈愛を感じる。
Nice of him to actually point this out to her, as it really is some excellent qualities that she possesses.
剣、骨の継ぎ目に刃を入れれば どんなに鍛えた体でも切れます。
Badass music starts as she returns to the battle now with a new blade and a new lease on life.
攻撃はわしが裁く。
Such an oddly cool move to spin kick his punch away like that.
いけない。
He's my boy now after getting to know him through nearly half the season, and so I must admit, when he takes a shot like that hurts him so bad, I really don't like to see it.
ジョーも断りも。
It's actually thrilling to watch her getting better and better as she comes to understand herself.
島の化け物にはひるんでも
Really good job done here for showcasing the battle being fought up close and then at a distance.
ありつぶせ非防止バージョン。
I continue to be so impressed with how the studio chose to do these animations entirely by hand and not rely on CGI.
家系と同じ。害をなすのは火や熱よりも。
Insane to think they had to use this method to beat him because he was that strong? Imagine if he was smart too. Watching these two together is so thrilling. He stopped him from attacking her there.
ずいぶん暴れさせてしまった。させたのね。ごめんなさい。
So good. It reminds me a lot of the first season of Demon Slayer, where each villain basically had a moment at their end where they understood how they went wrong in life, like he did here.
源氏殿。
I like to think that he passed after seeing her achieve her mission, but he was pretty great in the end either way.
この役目から皆を解放すべきです。
ようやく利害が一致したな。
Tad too long to show, but for context, she is saying if we find what we're looking for, I will also free my fellow students from this mission, and he smiled at that. I like how they're on the same page now.
村ですか。
以外には見えないね。
As we near the half-ish waypoint, I am loving the lore and how it's being issued out bit by bit, keeping a nice air of mystery about it. 2 wins. Firstly, that animation being smooth as warm butter warmed up, all nice and warm. Secondly, it's the ladies looking all nice and stuff, probably warm too, since they were topless, you feel me? But also, who the heck are they? Join me next week to find out, hopefully. Darth Weirdo, Fiji, Mao Liao, Mushwin, Nick Wyndham, The Elementator Wars, Christopher Willis, Emmanuel Gonzalez, Fancy Turtle, Kepan, Minimasher, Marquez, Nozomi, Orkeeper, Autobotanisi, Steelers, The Epic Commander, Bird Without a Word, Brendan Greer, Brian Bayard, Cameron, Christopher Terrasa, Commander Cyrus, David Freerix, Devicool, Doggos for Life, Dragonstorm 35, Guru, James DeFoyer, Yor Edvinson, Kevin Alston, Cumfroig, Miura Night Sky, Mr. Mansu, Nightly Winter, Peter Milligan, Robert Jackson, Ruby Rose, Sataki Ari, Zions 44, Sean, Starkip, Tiger Lily Warrior, Alexander Schwartz, Ali 50, Amadillo, Arnador, Brainless Ben, Cecilia, Cedric, Cloud Garden, Dante's Soul, Dante's Face, Dark Lord Bloody Soul, Donald Newborn, Dragon Defender, Dragon Boy 1, Drake's Daughter, Iso, Francie, Furious Mo, Garrett Vermeesh, Henrik Jensen, Host Losritter, Israel Caldera, Joe Crims, Jason Davies, John, Jaffa 6263, Kai Wolfspring, Kelnock, Kevin Nelter, Kevin 102, Knuckle Duster, Cody Niemeyer, Kai 158, Carl Jones, Laxor, Laxus, Liam Gagati, Lifty, Lionel Schultz, Luis Minito, Marvin, Mason Stelfer, Matthew Blansett, Michael Lewis, Miran Ardron, Modaviram, Mr. Firecool, Nathaniel Gigramosa, Natsu Dragneel, Nick Monaco, Nick Pell, Nuvagown 1928, Oliver Smiley Reacts, Olive Wharf, Onyx Caliph, Oscar I. Lopez, Owen Halloran, Porgy, That's a Fish, Q-Flash, Chris Harris, Rimuru, Rodies, Rolltide Wes, Ryan DeViri, Sadaholics, Sakumi Iorum, Sarcastic Truth, Shadow Cleanser, Snowy, Stan, Storm 970, TRS, The Danish Muggle, Thrasher 340, Tomo Sandy, Vernon Hogan, Wacky Normal, Will Sass, Willyman.